Hello, my legacy guides. So good to have you here. Welcome to Module 1. Here in Module 1, we're going to be discussing what purpose discovery for seniors. We'll be learning about discovering purpose at every stage of life, grounded in both practical wisdom and biblical truth. We'll explore how purpose is not a fixed destination, but a dynamic compass, guiding passion, strength, and impact. We will also be considering biblical descriptions of purpose, and also we're going to see how God shapes purpose. And then we're going to examine how we can help seniors leverage wisdom and legacy for meaningful living. What does purpose mean? Yes, we're talking about purpose. We want to help seniors uncover purpose, but what exactly does it mean? We have to have a full understanding before we are able to even help others understand what their purpose is. Purpose is the reason for which something is done, created, or exists. A toothbrush was created for brushing the teeth, right? So that's the purpose of a toothbrush. In the context of life, purpose is the deeper why behind one's existence. The why, the reason why you are living. Purpose is the unique assignment, the calling or contribution a person is meant to make in the world. It gives direction, it gives fulfillment, and it brings meaning to our life's journey. So how can we discover purpose? We have like a number of ways that I've lined up here. To uncover purpose, the very first one is to do what? To connect with your God. That is your creator. He is your manufacturer. He knows your purpose. So you have to connect with your God. Bible says in Jeremiah 1 verse 5, it said, before I knew you, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. So you could ask God through what? Prayer, scriptural meditation, and also like building intimacy with God. I always call intimacy into me see, and all like God to see through me, and all. So that's intimacy, having intimacy with God, and all. Those are the foundational ways to discover what your life's purpose. Purpose is not invented, right? It is revealed through your relationship with your Creator. Another way you can actually discover purpose is by examining your design. You can examine what your gifts, your strengths, your passions, what activities energizes you, what burdens you, your natural talents, your spiritual gifts, and your life experiences. All these often hints at your purpose. The third one is by following the trail. You want to follow the trail of impact, right? This is actually common in the essential even for seniors. Most times, our purpose is often tied to serving others and solving specific problems. You could ask, who am I called to help and how? I'll give a scenario. So I've always been helping seniors only as a child. So I could be walking around and maybe I see an old man wanting to cross. I just want to help him, take him by the hand, help him cross the road. And at times, I might be walking and maybe I sight like a senior carrying stuff. I just go and greet the senior and I please, can I help you, ma, or can I help you, sir? And I help the person to take it to the person's house and everything. And there are times when I have enough money though, when I'm going to buy stuff and I see a senior coming to buy anything, I'm like, oh mama, good afternoon, ma. What do you want to buy? Do you mind if I pay for you? So it said at a very young age until and then so other guys should actually said with a strong body. I had sleepless nights. I practically went to bed and rose up. As in I woke up with this strong body about seniors. It was like everywhere I turned, I was seeing seniors. I had to ask God, what's the connection with me and old people? What do you want me to do? How can I help them? What exactly do you want me to do? So God made it clear to me that what He really wanted me to do was actually to help as many seniors discover their purpose and to die empty. He said, my daughter, I'm tired of seeing poor people die and come to me without fulfilling the purpose in which I've invested in them. And I was like, wow. So that is why I've been doing it. I've been going about visiting seniors and I'm helping a lot of people discover their purpose. But I can't do it alone, and that is the reason why I need you. And thank you again for applying even for this training. I know that yes, we can build together the vision God has given us, right? Yes. So you see, your purpose is often tied to to what? Serving others. 4, you can also discover purpose by what? Paying attention to recurring patterns and dreams. Patterns in your interests, maybe your roles or even your passions are not random at all. God often speaks through maybe your visions, nudges, or even only frustrations or your pain. The 5th one is what? You submit to mentorship and accountability. Your mentors can actually help you interpret your journey, can confirm your strengths, and also what? Challenge you to grow. Wise counsel can see what you are too close to observe. Now, how can you help another discover purpose? For example, we're going to be working with seniors as legacy guides. So how will you be able to help seniors discover their purpose? The first one, you have to listen intentionally. You let them share their journey with you. You practice active listening. Listen to their desires, their pain points, their experiences. Most times, purpose often hides in their stories. You could also ask reflective questions. You could say, "Oh, Mama, so what comes to you? What comes naturally to you? What do you care about so deeply that you think, oh, this is something that you like to share to other generations?" You could also say, okay, you could also ask this question: when do you feel most alive? For example, I was with a particular senior, and while I was listening to his story, I discovered that this senior would actually tell when it was going to rain, when the sun is going to be the hottest. He could tell, he could predict weather. And this man, he never went to geography school. It's just natural and then it was in his 80s. And so he practically drew some things for me. When he explains some things to me, I really don't understand. He draws the picture and it's so clear. Once you see I'm like, wow, in your 80s, you can still draw. And in fact, his wife was that is the artist. That kind of thing. Like, wow, this is love. I was like, okay, sir, is it possible you help document all this information, the knowledge you have, use geography about how to find out if it's going to snow, if it's going to rain, if it's going to be hot, how to find out if we're going to have a tsunami. Is it possible to have this information documented in a book? And then, because I know that a lot of people would follow the knowledge in that book, and that book would actually outlive you without they having to go to geography school. Then also, you can also affirm their strengths, right? Sometimes people don't see what's obvious to others. They call out their gifts, especially if they keep showing up in service to others. Also, you could also expose them to opportunities, volunteer works, challenges. This can actually awaken dormant purpose. You can also encourage exploration. Purpose is often clarified in motion. Also, you can also pray with them and for them. Invite God into their discovery process. Prophetic encouragement and scriptural promises can actually provide direction. Be patient and be present. Discovery can take time, but you need to keep working with the seniors in love. Purpose is not just what you do, remember? It's about who you become. Your identity in God is the foundation. Your purpose remains rooted in advancing God's kingdom through your unique wiring. Psalm 92 verse 14 says, "They will still bear fruit in their old age. They will stay fresh and green." So can you say that even our seniors, even in their 80s, in their 90s, they can still fulfill their purpose? So let's consider the biblical foundation to discovering purpose. God's purpose is lifelong. Let's consider Abraham. Abraham was called at 75 years old. So can you see, our seniors are still very valid. They are still, so our seniors are still very much needed in purpose discovery and purpose fulfillment, right? And Abraham was called at 75, and today we know he was the father of the nation. Yes, so even after Abraham is gone, even we, my generation, I never knew what Abraham, still knows Abraham because his legacy what outlives him. Now let's also consider Anna. Anna was the prophetess. She served God in the temple in old age. And even God, and she was consistently serving God. And what happened? The promise God made to her that she was going to see the Messiah she lived till she was able to see the Messiah. And then when she saw the Messiah, she worshipped God. And that's recorded in Luke 2:36, verse 38. So let's consider the biblical foundation to discovering your purpose. The very first one is what God's purpose is lifelong. Let's consider Abraham. Abraham was called what at 75 years old. So you can consider this is an essential case that shows that even in old age, God still needs our seniors, and that's why we as Legacy Guides are here. Today we know Abraham as the father of nations because he obeyed and he heed to God's call. And so also, I'm sure we could actually have mothers of nations. We could have different names for our seniors, as long as we're able to help them to heed to God's call and God's purpose for them. Also, Hannah was a prophetess. Hannah served God in the temple even till her old age, and God actually helped make her to see the Messiah as she desired before she died. And you can find this in Luke 2 verse 36 to 38. The next biblical foundation we will constitute is what? That purpose can actually emerge from pain. The first one I said was what? Purpose is lifelong. God's purpose is lifelong. So your purpose in life is lifelong. It will always outlive you. Purpose can actually emerge from pain. For example, let's consider Joseph. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, right? And even despite the fact he was betrayed by his brothers, he did not allow his pain to hinder him from fulfilling God's purpose. Remember, he had dreams. He had dreams that his brothers were bowing down, and his father was bowing down to him, and everything. They just ignored it, like, what kind of dream is this? They just, and everything. But what happened? He didn't allow all those things to affect him. Excuse me. Even still, he did what? He forgave his brothers. And today we know him as what? It was one person that saved nations from what? Famine. You can find that in Genesis 50 verse 20. Also, let's look at Job. Job practically lost everything. You can imagine in today's world where we have, I don't know if you remember this song, it is well with my soul. The author of that song actually had similar experience with Job. Job practically lost everything. He lost a lot. He was grieved. He was depressed. But one thing is that even despite when his wife told him, when he calls God and die, he said, "No, I will not." He stayed on the course. And today, what happened? He enjoyed what a greater restoration than what he previously had. And also, today we can learn wisdom from Job's story. I'm sure the author of I'm sure he must have read Job's story over and over again. And the wisdom was able to, unleash from that particular story, helped him to stay strong and all. So you see, your purpose can also emerge from your pain. And how? So now this is like an activity for everyone. I want everyone to respond to this in the comment section below with your name tagged to your response. Please, thank you. So how has a past struggle or pain shaped who you are today? So just spend some time thinking about it. How has a past struggle or pain shaped who you are today? Remember we said that pain can also, your purpose can also emerge from your pain. So now, I'm going to be going through, I'm sorry for that. I'm going to be going through identifying purpose in the life of a senior. We have 5 areas where purpose is usually revealed in the stories of people. The first one, like we discussed, grief or loss. So most time, comforting others, grief or loss could actually result in a purpose of maybe comforting others who are also experiencing the same thing you also went through. And how the next one was careers or skills, right? So one person, if you a senior who is really skilled in a particular area, could actually mentor other younger ones. Basically more like pouring into them the ideas, the skills, the novel areas for whatever he deployed. that made him successful to help younger generation to be successful, right? Then also a faith journey and all. So I met with a number of seniors. Most of the seniors I met with actually had amazing faith journeys, and some of them are currently writing books on intercession, writing books on evangelism and the likes. So yes, so this could actually so your faith journey, especially in seniors anyway, when you're able to pull out that from your story, you're able to help them maybe document books, on how to pray, how to be an effective intercessor, the benefits of interceding, all those kind of things and all, right? So that's where, so those are areas you could actually find purpose in the stories of seniors. Also, the fourth one is what? Family legacy, passing down wisdom. For example, one of the very first seniors I visited, that's Pa Ajuka. While I was listening to his story and everything, after praying with him and asking God, I was able to discern that yes, his purpose was actually to build a lasting foundation for his family, where his family would actually be built on. So basically, building his family and also generations to come after him. So building that his entire lineage on the principles, on kingdom principles, right? So yes, a book has been released, The Glory of God, in that light. So his family has been had that book and they've still going through. And it's something that he has instructed that book must be passed down to generation even after them. So it's going to be, so for every family, as anyone is right in a particular family, they're handing over. So this is going to be a foundation. This should form the basis of your family, ensuring that your family is built on a strong foundation in Christ. And the fifth one is what? Overcoming trials. Overcoming trials. So seniors that have actually been able to overcome trials, they can actually share their testimony. They could have maybe a show, right, on life journey. So there's this show I used to love on TBN. For those that love to watch TBN, that's Turning Points. Turning Points will always highlight people's stories and people's trials, people's hurts, and how they're able to rise stronger from their hurts, from their griefs, from their challenges, from their trials, and all. So many of these can be documented in books for many people, for younger generations to actually read and learn and get wisdom on how to apply in their own situation. So yes, testimonies. So basically, you can actually share testimonies that inspires. Now let's consider a case study so I titled this case study From Grief to Purpose. It's about a particular woman. So from grief to purpose. So I'm going to be going through this case study. So I'm going to read it out to you. So listen attentively to our story time. The rain tapped softly against the window as Marilyn sat alone in a quiet living room, clutching a faded photograph of her late husband, James. It had been 2 years since cancer took him, and the ache in her heart still felt fresh. The house echoed with silence, and Sundays, once filled with laughter and shared sermons, now felt unbearably long. One morning, while flipping through an old church bulletin, Marlin noticed a small announcement. Seniors Visitation Program 6 volunteers. Her fingers paused over the words. Could I even help anyone? She wondered. When I can barely help myself. But something stirred in her spirit. Marlin signed up, and her first visit was to Mr. Thompson, a widower in his 80s who rarely left his apartment. When she arrived, she found him staring blankly at a chessboard, the same one he had played with his wife for 50 years. I don't know why I still set it up, he admitted, voice cracking. Nobody to play with now. Marlin sat down opposite him. Then teach me, she said. James loved chess. So remember, James was her husband. James loved chess too, but I never learned. As the pieces moved, so did their conversation about loss, lonely nights, and the strange guilt of smiling again. For the first time in years, Mr. Thompson laughed And Marlene realized this was why she endured her own pain. Word spread, and so Marlene was visiting 5 widows and widowers weekly. She would bring soup to Miss Evelyn, who had lost her husband to Alzheimer's disease, and would sit with Deacon Harris, who missed singing duets with his late wife. With each visit, Marlene shared her story not as a sermon, but as a reminder. Grief doesn't get smaller. We grow stronger around it. And sometimes God uses our scars to heal others. One evening, Miss Evelyn gripped Marlene's hand and said, "You made me feel seen," she whispered. "Like I'm not just a widow, I'm still somebody." Tears welled in Marlene's eyes. This was the purpose she'd never planned. At James' graveside, that is Marlene's husband, at James' graveside on their anniversary, Marlene placed a single rose and smiled through tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "Our love didn't end. It just changed ends." Your pain can become someone else's guide. Marlene's grief didn't disappear. It became a lantern. And in the darkness of others' loneliness, she found a light. Right? So this is what the story of what from grief to purpose. So I'm going to be asking you, my legacy guides, who needs your lantern today? So this is just for you to think about who needs your lantern today. In conclusion, your purpose isn't behind you. It is in front of you. It's refined by every experience. I love this. So there's this quote by Corrie ten Boom. It says, "The measure of a life, after all, is not its duration, it is donation, what you're able to offer, how you're able to impact others, what you're able to help others achieve." Right? And I pray that may the Lord reveal where in our stories and that of the seniors that we'll be working with can bring light to others. So if you have any questions, can you drop the questions in the comment section below? Thank you, and so we'll see you again in Module 2. Have an amazing day. Thank you.